Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. As a reminder, please turn off all cell phones and other communication devices. Today's ceremony is considered an indoor ceremony. Therefore, military members are required to stand at the position of attention during the national anthem, and civilian personnel are encouraged to place their hand over their hearts. Welcome to the 436th Airlift Wing Change of Command ceremony. Today, we pay special tribute to Colonel Joel Safranek as he relinquishes command of the 436th Airlift Wing to Colonel Matthew Jones as he assumes command. This ceremony provides an opportunity to witness a time-honored military tradition dating back to antiquity. From ancient times, armies throughout the world have conducted ceremonies to commemorate victory over their enemy, to honor comrades in arms, and to celebrate special occasions such as the change of command. In the Middle Ages, it was not uncommon for soldiers in the field to be unaware of who their commanders were. The formal change of command afforded the troops an opportunity to witness the proceedings and actually see their commanders. Today, the primary purpose of the change of command is to allow subordinates to witness the formal transfer of total responsibility, authority, and accountability from one officer to another. These ceremonies have added color and pageantry to military life while preserving tradition and stimulating esprit de corps. The host for today's ceremony is the Commander, 18th Air Force, Major General Sam Barrett. The commander of troops for today's ceremony is the incoming Vice Wing Commander, 436th Airlift Wing, Colonel Shannon Anderson. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remain standing for the arrival of the official party and the playing of musical honors. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. The 436th Airlift Wing is honored to welcome a number of special guests to today's ceremony. Please hold your applause until all have been introduced. Special guests for Colonel Safranek are his wife, Hannah, their sons Connor and Logan, and their daughter, Emily. Colonel Safranek's brother, Todd Safranek, and sister, Dawn Curtin. Special guests for Colonel Jones are his wife, Christy, and their daughters, Devin and Brooke. Colonel Jones's brother, Scott Jones, his wife, Stacy, their daughters, Madison and Bella. Colonel Jones's brother, Steve Jones. Colonel Jones's uncle, Rich Jones, his wife, Amy, and cousin, Christine. Colonel Jones's uncle, Mark, and cousin, Dave Jones. Colonel Jones's uncle, Dr. Doug Jones, U.S. Air Force Major, retired. Colonel Jones's parents-in-law, Bill and Carol Brindle, and Colonel Jones's sister and brother-in-law, Barb and Dan Mulligan, and their sons, Will and Mac. We would also like to welcome, representing United States Senator Carper's office, Senior Advisor, Mrs. Lori James, and Delaware State Director, Ozzie Afoso. Representing United States Senator Coon's office, the Kent and Sussex Counties Director, Mrs. Kate Rohrer. The Mayor of the City of Dover, Honorable Robin Christensen. The Command Chief, 18th Air Force, Chief Master Sergeant Daniel Simpson. Representing the Delaware National Guard Adjutant General is the Commander, 166th Airlift Wing, Colonel Carla Reiner, and the Command Chief, 166th Airlift Wing, Chief Master Sergeant William Hooray. The Command Chief, 436th Airlift Wing, Chief Master Sergeant Shay G. The incoming Vice Commander, 436th Airlift Wing, Colonel Shannon Anderson, and his wife, Jennifer. The Commander, 512th Airlift Wing, Colonel Gregory Haynes, and his wife, Kendra. The Command Chief, 512th Airlift Wing, Chief Master Sergeant Edward Ramirez. The Commander, 436th Operations Group, Colonel Michael Peeler. The Commander, 512th Operations Group, Colonel Michael DeSantis, and his wife, Major Lee DeSantis. The Commander, 436th Mission Support Group, Colonel Tyler Schaff, and his wife, Ellen. The Commander, 512th Mission Support Group, Lieutenant Colonel Ryan Robin, and his wife, Kelly. The Commander, 436th Maintenance Group, Colonel Chris May, and his wife, Joy. The Commander, 512th Maintenance Group, Colonel Doreen Shipp, and her husband, Jeff. The Commander, 436th Medical Group, Colonel Patricia Fowler. The Commander, Armed Forces Medical Examiner System, Colonel Louis Finelli, and his wife, Kathy. The Commander, Air Force Mortuary Affairs Operations, Colonel Brian Eddy, and his wife, Charity. The Commander, 305th Air Mobility Wing, Colonel Jacqueline Breeden, and her husband, Jason. The Vice Commander, 89th Airlift Wing, Colonel Kim Welter, and her husband, Colonel Tim Welter. Air Force Civic Leader, Mr. Mike Tatoyan. AMC Civic Leaders, Mr. Bobby Pancake and Ms. Lori Ewald. Honorary Wing Commander, 436th Airlift Wing, Mr. Chuck Noonan and his wife, Christine. Honorary Vice Wing Commander, 436th Airlift Wing, from the Delaware State Police, Major Sean Moriarty. The Commander, Delaware State Civil Air Patrol, Colonel Robert Mooney. Retired Deputy Chief Magistrate, Kent County, the Honorable Ernst Arndt and his wife, Lee. Finally, we would like to welcome all commanders, chiefs, honorary commanders and alumni, community leaders, and the men and women of Team Dover. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the presentation of the colors and singing of our national anthem by Staff Sergeant Alicia Garcia.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the that our flag was still there. star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the invocation by Dr. Doug Jones.
Please join me in prayer. Heavenly Father, we ask that your Spirit would be present on this special day for the 436th Airlift Wing. We pray your blessing on Colonel Joel Safranek as he completes this command and moves on to his assignment with U.S. Transportation Command. May he make this transition recognizing the gratitude of those who have served under his command. Bless his wife Hannah and his children Connor, Emily, and Logan, who have been at his side through this time of command. We also pray for Colonel Jones as he assumes the incredible responsibility of commanding this wing. May he seek your counsel daily as he takes on the mantle of leadership. Encourage him when days are difficult and lift him up when the weight of command is heavy. Surround him with commanders and staff fully committed to their shared mission. Grant him your wisdom to make critical daily decisions that affect the lives of so many. May he be a servant leader that looks out for the interests of others. May he know that his grandfather, the first of 3 generations of Jones aviators, looks down on him with inestimable pride this day. Watch over Christy and the girls as they support Colonel Jones in this honorable undertaking. We pray for your protection of the men and women of the 436th as they carry out the critical mission of extending America's reach and the sacred honor of welcoming home America's fallen soldiers. Protect and encourage each of them as they fulfill your calling on their lives. Bless the leaders of this great nation as they establish the goals and priorities enforced around the world by these brave warriors. We pray that you would once again restore peace to this great nation. Above all, we ask that you would bless the United States of America. And we ask all of this in the precious name of your Son, Jesus. Amen.
Thank you, Dr. Jones. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. The Commander, 18th Air Force, Major General Sam C. Barrett.
Well, good morning. You know, before I open this speech and get started, you know, Chief and I were talking as we came in here, and I think it's only fitting that we have this ceremony in Port Dog territory. And I think it says everything about this wing, about what we do as airmen, as a team, to get things done. We're here where the Port Dogs get the work done. Because without that, those are really cool, beautiful, big airplanes out there. They're just static displays without the work that all the airmen at this base do. So for the Port Dogs, last year was your year at the Airlift Tanker Convention. We're proud of you. Let's give them a hand. We're in their house. So good morning, Team Dover. What a beautiful day. A little cloudy, but beautiful and nice in here to celebrate this great wing and these 2 fine leaders and patriots on stage with me today. And I must say, Chief Simpson and I are so glad to be back in Delaware. The most supportive community I've ever seen. Absolutely amazing. Thank you to all the civic leaders, all the community leaders. We've got an Air Force civic leader here, AMC civic leaders. You're absolutely amazing. Sergeant Garcia, beautiful rendition of the national anthem. Beautiful. Oh, give her a hand. That's great. And Dr. Jones, I know it's special for Matt to have his retired Air Force uncle give the invocation, so thank you. That was very well done, very well done. Ladies and gentlemen, this ceremony takes a lot of work, so please join me in one more round of applause for everybody out there that worked so hard to make it just perfect. Matt, thanks for traveling all this way to take command. I hope that the 20-foot move from one office to the other hasn't left you too exhausted, because we're going to put you to work. I cherish this opportunity to come together at this venue and highlight the wing with our civic leaders and with our teammates. Also, welcome to our elected leaders and their representatives today. To all the commanders, chiefs, community and civic leaders, teammates, family, friends, thanks for attending. So I really want to start out today with the biggest shout out, though, for Joel's better 99%, his wife Hannah, and their children Connor, Emily, and Logan. Thank you for all of your sacrifice to the nation, for your devotion and your love and support for your family and for the airmen of the 436 Airlift Wing. Hannah, Kelly and I saw very clearly during our visit back in March, and I can't believe it's that long ago. It seems like yesterday, how wonderful and how strong your influence is with our airmen and with their families. And Hannah, not to mention the hard work it is to keep Joel on the straight and narrow and in line every day. So bless you for that. Bless you for that. I'd also like to extend a warm welcome to the Jones family. Matt and his wife Christy, of course, their daughters Devin and Brooke, who I just met. Great to talk to you two ladies, and your uncles Rich, Mark, and Doug, your brothers Scott and Steve, and your in-law Bill and Carol Brindle. And I know you have others here, so thank you all for what a great turnout. Matt, their presence is a fitting family tribute for this big day for you, and they are rightfully proud of you today. Or your uncles and your brothers, maybe they're just amazed you've gotten this far, and they had to be here today to see it for themselves. I'm not sure which it is, but either way, we'll give you credit and put you in command. Christy, thank you for the many years of support to Matt, and welcome to the new role in the 436 family. Matt, I know you wish your parents, Rod and Pam, could be here, as we talked about earlier this morning, how proud they must be of you, and I'm certain that their love and their support are foundational in making you the airman and the leader that you are today. So to them, on their cruise, I say well done. Ladies and gentlemen, this Dover team is special. I've seen firsthand the lengths this team goes to get the mission done, to include in the middle of the night last night. It's impressive. You guys knock it out of the park, time and time again. Matt, Christy, I know you'll continue to love the Dover experience, but be warned, it passes all too fast. So cherish every single day in command. I have to say, the people in this area really step up to support the mission, and most importantly, the airmen's families, because they know, just as we do, that Dover Air Force Base isn't just part of the community. In the community, it's a part of the community, Mayor. To all the airmen present, active guard, reserve, and civilian, thanks for your service and thanks for your sacrifice. We all know what's on the line. Our job is to defend the nation against a multitude of threats. You are the heart and soul of a lethal and ready force that ensures America's continued prosperity and defense. In the 18th Air Force, we provide lethality through speed and mobility. The flexibility that airlift delivers allows us to touch any corner of the planet at a time and place of our choosing, as we see this very day. And this wing plays a critical role in that, and it's something for all of you to be very proud of. You see, it's global reach that makes the United States a superpower, not a regional power. Joel, you ensured Dover delivered global reach every day, and I commend you for a job well done. The Air Force was very deliberate in putting you in this job. Your personal leadership set the bar high as a warrior culture and a war-ready wing. In the past year alone, Team Dover's airlift mission consistently provided the resources our combatant commanders needed, delivering 81 million pounds of cargo, and 23,700 passengers to our warfighters around the world. They did that on over 4,100 sorties. Joel, you kept discipline as a priority. You have talked the talk, yet walked the walk. Of particular note, the support you lend to your mission partners has been outstanding. You flawlessly led over 110 dignified transfers and hosted the President of the United States, the Vice President, the Secretary of Defense, the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, the Chief of Staffs of the Army and the Air Force, among many, many others, showing them the lengths we go to honor those who have made the ultimate sacrifice. Priceless. Joel, you lead the way with this warrior culture. It is powerful and it is spot on for building readiness and resilience we need today and in the future as we face great power competition. And you are clearly devoted to your airmen and families. Ladies and gentlemen airmen, this man loves his Air Force, and it shows. Joel, Hannah, you have a lot to be proud of. Thanks for your leadership, and I'm excited that you will soon join us at Scott Air Force Base as the Deputy Director J54 at Transcom. Had an opportunity to talk to your next boss, General Lyons, at our house on New Year's Eve. He's our Transcom commander, and he's waiting for you. There's a lot of work to be done. You're up to the task. What a great job that is, and I'm excited for you and look forward to watching your bright future continue to unfold. Matt, it's your turn to take them to new heights. You're the right leader at the right place and the right time. For the audience today, while many of you have gotten to know Colonel Jones during his time as the Vice Wing Commander, I'd like to share some things you may not know about his background that certainly qualify him for the job. First, and importantly, military service runs deep in his veins. His grandfather was a B-29 radar operator, and his father served 10 years on active duty as a T-37 FATE and later as an F-15 fighter pilot. After leaving active duty, his dad continued to serve in the Air Force Reserves. He passed the military tradition to the Jones boys. Matt was born in Enid, Oklahoma, where his father served as a FAPE. That's a first assignment instructor pilot. But he mostly grew up in Scottsdale, Arizona, before attending and graduating the United States Air Force Academy. He is a proud C-5 pilot and was the mission commander of a flight where our new C-5M Super Galaxy set 46 aviation world records, helping the C-5 have the distinction of the airplane with the most aviation world records on Earth. Did you know that? Pretty cool. He further solidified his mobility credentials serving in AMC's Contingency Response Wing, leading the first contingency response element in the combat AOR. He also helped Transcom's port opening operations during that devastating 2010 Haiti earthquake. In addition, Matt serves as a special assistant to the Deputy Secretary of Defense for prisoner of war and missing persons, working to bring back fallen soldiers home. And it is only fitting that he now get to command at Dover, where so much of that sacrifice and that mission culminates. Matt, balance will serve you well in your role as a wing commander leading over 6,000 airmen, especially when times get tough, and you know that they quite often do. The guidon I'll hand you is light, but it carries a heavy burden of command. Anyone who's ever carried that burden knows the importance of a strong support network. Your support network, of course, starts with your wife and your family, but it extends far beyond to the airmen that you lead at Dover and the community itself. It extends to 11 fellow wing commanders and our command teams at Air Mobility Command and the 18th Air Force. Matt, we're all on the same team. With that support and the network you have and your proven skill and ability, I have every confidence your airmen will continue to thrive. Matt, the airmen you lead are talented. They're innovative and they're brave. Focus on readiness, squadron vitality, and a work-life balance so they can get after the mission. The message is clear. When leading our great airmen, you tell them to do their job with pride and passion. Live by our core values of integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all that we do. And do so in such a manner that any adversary, big or small, knows in the 436th Airlift Wing, we fly, we fight, and we always win. Let's keep it that way. Aim high. Publish the order.
Please rise for the presentation of the Legion of Merit 1st Oak Leaf Cluster to Colonel Safranek. Colonel Joel W. Safranek distinguished himself by exceptionally meritorious conduct in the performance of outstanding service to the United States as Commander 436th Airlift Wing at Dover Air Force Base, Delaware, from 28 May 2018 to 7 January 2020. In this critical position, he led a wing comprised of 4,445 personnel, managed a $320 million annual budget, oversaw a 3,172-acre installation with $3.6 billion in infrastructure, operated 31 C-5M and C-17A aircraft valued at $8.5 billion, and provided daily services for over 11,000 active duty, civilian, dependent, and retired personnel. Colonel Safranek drove Air Mobility Command's rapid global mobility mission through the execution of over 5,000 sorties, the airlift of 72,000 tons of cargo, and transportation of 40,800 passengers in support of operations Freedom Sentinel, Inherent Resolve, and Resolute Support. During this period, his advocacy was instrumental in securing an additional $3 million for the construction of a new $47 million elementary and middle school. His fiscal acumen continued by gaining support to reprogram additional funds for a new fuel cell hangar. Furthermore, Colonel Safranek's vision for base resiliency drove the execution of a deliberate base-wide power outage exercise. Additionally, his focus on combat-ready airmen was critical to the wing's first flyaway exercise in 8 years, fusing 5 other wings for an exercise to train 734 airmen for contingency operations. Simultaneously, Colonel Safranek led his wing through the planning and execution of the 2019 Thunder over Dover Air Show, showcasing 58 aircraft to over 40,000 personnel, including 414 distinguished visitors and 36 Gold Star families. Moreover, his dedication fostered partnerships with 63 nations through 200 foreign aircraft visits, ensuring the success of the Department of State's $8.7 billion foreign military sales program. Finally, his focus on knowledge, proficiency, and assertiveness led the wing to earn the Air Force Outstanding Unit Award. The superior initiative, outstanding leadership, and personal endeavor displayed by Colonel Safranek reflect great credit upon himself and the United States Air Force. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, the commander of the 436th Airlift Wing, Colonel Joel Safranek.
I know they put you at ease in the formation and back, but before I get started, go ahead and just start to shake a leg here and there and kind of keep your knees bending so that nobody falls out. At the beginning of the ceremony, they talked through the customs and traditions and how it came about throughout time and in history, and we've kind of kept through some of those old-fashioned formalities, if you will. I'll be honest with you, I think the real change of command is quiet and done behind the scenes. So yesterday afternoon, the front office came to me and said, "Sir, we need your iPhone. We got to transfer it over for Colonel Jones." And when that iPhone went to him, that's probably when the real change of command took place. It's probably the most nervous night I had, thinking, does command post know how to get a hold of me? I'm over in billeting. But we survived. And what a beautiful job by Staff Sergeant Garcia with the national anthem. I'll tell you, I attend a lot of these events, and I'm just absolutely amazed at the talent that is on this base. Whether it's someone playing the national anthem by electric guitar, by violin, by singing, for somebody that just doesn't have that talent, it's an incredible thing to see on a regular basis. With all that we have going on today, it always takes a little bit of extra effort to make things like this possible. And I know I'm going to forget everyone, but I would just like to kind of thank Senior Master Sergeant Sahi and Captain Geohagen for being the brains behind this thing and organizing it, as well as any of the other volunteers that may not necessarily have stepped up by name, but made something happen in order for this to happen today. Thank you for doing that for myself and my family and the Joneses as well. To include Major Waltman and Staff Sergeant Clayton Cornell for helping proctor it. Please accept Hannah and my appreciation for going the extra mile. Todd, thanks for coming out from Columbus. I know it's a busy time. Same thing, Dawn, coming from California. The hard part about doing one of these things in January is when you throw in Thanksgiving and Christmas, and there seemed to be one less week this week between Thanksgiving and Christmas, it just makes for a little more of a crunch time. So I appreciate everyone for kind of fitting this in right after the holidays with everything else going on. Miss Lori James, Miss Kate Rohr, and Ms. Faso, thanks for representing the congressional delegation. I'll tell you, this is my 12th assignment and about to go to my 13th, and the relationship here is really unmatched. And some of it, I think, is the benefit of just being a small state and taking advantage of everything being so close. But I know Senator Carper and Senator Coons are at a lot of these events on a regular basis, and I know they've got some things going on right now, but please pass on to them my thanks and appreciation for their support, as well as your consistent support being out here. It really is unmatched. Mayor Christensen, you nailed it when you made the comment Dover is Dover Air Force Base, and Dover Air Force Base is Dover. The city's been invested in this base, if you know the history, since the beginning, since the late 1930s and 1940s, and it has never stopped. And I appreciate you keeping that legacy alive today and every other time that you've been out here. And it's not just about kind of the official government relationships, but even just the community ties as well. And I'm probably not going to grab everybody, but Mike Tatoyan, Bobby Pancake, Steve Masterson, Lori Ewald, Judge and Lee Arnst. I know Bill Hare had to step out, wasn't able to make it this morning. Bob Clark, and the various other people I may have forgotten to mention. Just thank you for constantly being here at event after event and just showing those ties between us and the community. As the installation commander, I just couldn't have asked for anything better, and I'm absolutely appreciative of the support that we get. Colonel Reiner, thanks for representing General Barry today. I know he was unable to make it, and represent the rest of the Delaware National Guard. I know we've made some strides in getting the organizations to work together a little more, and I just ask that you continue that relationship with Colonel Jones. I can only assume it'll get stronger and stronger. We've got a great partner to the north. Speaking of great partners, Colonel Haynes and the rest of the reservists that are in the room, thanks for taking the time to share this experience with the 436th, and thanks for being that absolute partner, hand in and hand out. I'll tell you, you cannot go out to one of the jets today and talk to a maintainer and a group of maintainers out there, and they're just intermixed, whether it's a civilian, whether it's a reservist, whether it's active duty. I mean, they're probably the most in sync that I've seen anywhere in the Air Force. Jackie, Colonel Breeden, I'll tell you, we struggled with where to sit you. So it's kind of like a wedding in the sense that there's certain people on certain sides. So the military folks are a little more over here, and some of the family and friends are over here. And we didn't know as a wing commander, should we sit her over here, or as a friend, should we sit her over here? So you won out on the friends and family side of the house. But thanks also for working with us up the I-95 corridor. The exercise that we talked about, and they at least mentioned in my Legion of Merit, would not have been possible without our folks up at JBMDL, and we appreciate it. They're, in my opinion, a little bit ahead of us on the IG side of the house and the exercise side of the house, and they allowed us to kind of latch on to them to get through our first exercise and help advance us a little bit more. General Barrett, sir, you didn't hire me, but thanks for keeping me. There probably were opportunities along the way to not do that, but I appreciate it. I think back to the feedback that we get. Sometimes it's small and it's simple, but man, it's so precise. So when I sat down in March, when he came out for a visit, at the very end, we did a little bit of one-on-one mentorship, and sir, you kind of said to me, hey, what things you think you're doing right, what things you think you're doing wrong? And I went through some of the things I thought I was doing right and said, hey, these are probably my weaknesses. And he just summed it up in one short sentence. He said, well, at least you're self-aware. So thanks for making it to the point, and I tried to correct course on some of those things. I'll tell you, what an incredible day. It's a little chilly outside, but I'll tell you, it's a little warmer in here with our friends and colleagues. I'm glad that most of you found your way here. There may be a few people hanging out at a hangar wondering where we're at, because we've done it there consistently time and time again. But for the temperature and everything else, we thought it'd be a little warmer in here. But I'll tell you, what an awesome backdrop for a change of command. So fitting. I mean, the aerial port, we found it out again and again and again, and it was highlighted in our last exercise that it is a center of gravity for the way that air mobility and airlift works. So there really is no better place that we could have had this today. I'll tell you, as I attempted to write this speech, I really struggled. I struggled with trying to find out, like, what words do I say to come to the conclusion of really the best job that I've ever had in the Air Force. And I found myself at a loss of words, which, if you know me at times, that's a tough thing to do, to find me at a loss of words. I have a tendency to ramble. So I went back to the newspaper article I wrote a couple weeks ago on my farewell address and just figured I'd repeat some of those words. And with that, I can say that this has been absolutely the highlight of my career, and my family and I will miss Dover greatly, both the city and the base. A large part of that is due to the community, which has surrounded us over the last year and a half, and they've really made the experience a special one. And a lot of those folks are sitting in this room today, so thank you for being there for the last year and a half, as well as here again today. From what I've witnessed, our airmen should also be very, very proud of what they've done. We've kept the momentum going from the previous commander. We've cemented the air show as a recurring event in Dover. We opened up the gates to over 40,000 people this past year. We doubled down on innovation. We established Bedrock as the innovation office with the goal of opening a permanent innovation facility this year. We even recently found out that Mr. Arnie Moss in civil engineering came up as one of the top 20 finalists for an innovation idea with AFIMSC. So we're continuing to keep that going, and I wish the best of luck to Arnie. So for the folks in CE, please pass it on to him. Additionally, the Eagle Wing has continued to soar to new heights. We've changed Air Mobility Command policy with improvements like being able to paint a dedicated crew chief's name on the side of the airplane where it should be. And we've given pride and ownership back to our airmen. We've established a demanding exercise battle rhythm, and we've pushed the outer envelope. And with that, I've witnessed the Wing's first flyaway exercise in almost a decade. We've witnessed the Air Force's first incorporation of drones as red air into a basic wing-level exercise. We've witnessed the Air Force's first base to intentionally take down power during an exercise. And I just asked for the airmen in the room, please remember that is not the destination, but those are just the first few steps that we're taking to get to where we need to be. These type of events and our ability to push ourselves needs to continue as we go forward to preparing our airmen for contested environments. And I'd like to take advantage of the audience being here today. One of the main reasons for our successes is the great partnerships that we've cultivated and maintained. As I previously mentioned, our flyaway exercise would not have been possible without the great partners from Team Dover with the 512th Airlift Wing, but they've also would not have been possible without the partnership we had at Joint Base McGuire-Dix-Lakehurst with the 305th Air Mobility Wing, the 87th Air Base Wing, the 514th Air Mobility Wing, and the 621st Contingency Response Wing. So Colonel Breeden, please go back on your morning breakfast and thank those other commanders for their participation and assistance. Flying the drones would not have been possible without the incredible support that we get from the Delaware Civil Air Patrol and their consistent desire to assist us in this base at all times. So Colonel Mooney, thank you for your organization's insatiable willingness to support this base. Our pushing the aerial port to its max during the last exercise would not have been possible without the partnership of the Delaware National Guard. The same is true for our ability to continue training and integrating the National Guard air evacuation teams into our C5M operations. So Colonel Reiner, please pass on our appreciation to the rest of the Delaware National Guard's leadership team. So continuing to cultivate and enhance these partnerships through trust must remain a priority for the wing as we go forward. It's not all been rosy. As I mentioned, or as they mentioned earlier, we started off my command tour with the installation falling short on funding for a new elementary school and middle school. And as we've continued, we initially fell short on some funding for a new hangar. But through other great partnerships, we were able to get the additional monies needed, which has allowed us to see a groundbreaking ceremony on the new elementary and middle school, as well as funds reprogrammed for the hangar. These are facilities we absolutely need if we're going to maintain our world-class installation support and executing our rapid global airlift mission as priorities. These missions never stop. I tell airmen all the time, if you look into the paper, the odds are air mobility is behind what you see in the paper. It may not be on the front page in the top fold. It may be hinting in some fine print or in the back part of the picture. But this has absolutely been the case in my time here. Dover Tails and crews have supported the President of the United States as he travels across the globe. They've carried wounded across the entire globe, going tens of thousands of miles to bring the wounded back to the best care and the best medical facilities on the planet. They've carried humanitarian relief supplies following disasters, and they've delivered warfighters to the fight. We even saw this in the past week when the nation needed to respond quickly. It turned to air mobility. Dover, you need to be proud of what you've done, what you are doing, and what you will do. You have much for which to look forward, and one of those things is getting an outstanding new commander. I've had the absolute pleasure of not just working with Colonel Jones for the last year and a half in an office next to mine, but living next to him and his family for the last year and a half. And I'll tell you, you can do a quick review of the formalities of his bio and right away see the pedigree that we're bringing into command. But at the same time, having known him personally at work and outside of work, him and Christy are absolutely prepared for what they're doing and what they're going to do for the wing. This is a couple who's dedicated to the Air Force and continuing to make Dover a place of care, caring for the mission, as well as caring for the people that take care of the mission. And I tell you, you're in absolutely good hands. Fortunately, so am I. The Air Force is a team sport, and this has never been more evident to me than in the past year and a half as the wing commander. And I've been fortunate enough to have my wife, Hannah, at my side throughout the entire assignment, as well as my two kids at home helping out. Anyone who's met her knows how incredible she is. And I just want to take this time publicly before closing out my speech to thank her and the kids. I've got some small gifts. And as I struggle to find words for the speech, I kind of struggle to find words to explain to Hannah how much I feel. So I'll kind of switch to her native language and just say, Hannah, 감사합니다, 사랑해요, 사랑해요. And just thank you. I'll tell you, I had a bit of a dream team. The command chief up here, the vice wing commander up here, the group commanders, the squadron commanders, the chiefs, the first sergeants. Man, what phenomenal leadership we have. This is a hard job, but I'll tell you, they've made it about as easy as possible because they're in here every single day doing what they can to make the mission happen and take care of our airmen. To the airmen of the wing, thank you. Anyone that knows me, and I've joked about it, knows that I'm a little straight-laced and even-keeled. You got pictures of, I can't think of that cat's name now, Grumpy Cat. I got pictures of Spock with some of my lack of emotion at times. But I'll tell you, when you engage with the airmen of the wing, they make you a better person. I become a better person by being a commander of this wing and engaging with the airmen, whether it's out on the flight line, whether it's at the gate when you come in and you talk to the security forces airmen, whether it's flying with the air crews, or trying to learn from maintenance how to weld. And I still got a lot to learn. So I really do want to kind of begin or end this change of command speech in the same way I began it a year and a half ago, and just thanking the airmen. You need to be proud of what you do. You deserve it. You do great work. You make the seemingly impossible possible. It takes long hours and it's stressful at times, but just because something is hard and difficult doesn't mean you should do it. I look forward to watching this wing continue to excel as I go forward to TRANSCOM and watch from a distance. Thank you very much for what you do. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, Eagle Wing would like to render a final salute to Colonel Safranek as our wing commander. Thank you, Colonel Safranek, for your leadership and guidance the past 18 months. Best wishes to you and your family as your mission takes you off to your next assignment. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the change of command ceremony in which the reins of responsibility will be passed from Colonel Safranek to Colonel Jones.
Publish the order.
Department of the Air Force, Headquarters, 18th Air Force, Special Order Number SF-070, dated 3 January 2020, under the provisions of Air Force Instruction 51-604, effective 7 January 2020. Colonel Safranek relinquishes command of the 436th Airlift Wing, and Colonel Jones assumes command. Signed, Major General Barrett. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. I present the Commander, 436th Airlift Wing, Colonel Matthew Jones.
Thank you very much. I don't know if you noticed in the middle of this, the refrigeration unit turned on, and I had a quick thought. That might annoy you, but maybe if you take a moment to reflect that most of the time we store human blood for the worst case scenarios that are in there. And so while it became harder to hear one another, for me it served as a reminder of what we do, and I thought that was interesting. So when Colonel Safranek and I occasionally get to share the same stage, maybe at a going away, I always speak first, he always speaks second, and he always starts his speech with deadpan by saying that I said everything he was going to say. So today the roles are reversed. The other thing I know about the one previous time that I assumed command was that the incoming commander gets about 3 minutes. I have a lot of family and friends here, so I respect and I know why it's 3 minutes. It's because I have yet to accomplish anything. But I would ask that we not start that clock until I at least introduce and say thank you to a lot of people who are here. And I'll keep us on track by reading most of this. First, General Barrett and Chief Simpson, thank you for the obvious, which is the confidence in this position. But as a plan was crafted over 2 years ago that gave me the opportunity to not only come to Dover as the vice, but potentially fly up to become the commander, in the same sentence they said this is highly likely to change as things do in the Air Force. And for my family and I, in the bottom of our heart, I want to thank you for your advocacy in making that plan culminate, and it's here, and it's my commitment to pay that forward to the community and the base. For our elected leaders, or the representatives, including the mayor, so we have said that this is the tightest relationship we've ever seen. I think it's a Delaware thing. I have to tell you, it's the tightest relationship I've ever heard of. And I was blessed to get to know and work with you the last year and a half, and I look forward to the future. We have our representatives from the Guard know that there are only 2 military installations, and so that represents half of what it has. And I am committed to following through of what Colonel Safranek asked in more and more participation. Our reserve, the only other wing commander here, so I welcome both of you. I got to know you just a little bit before we got here, which I thought was great, and I look forward with working with you. A special welcome to the leader of the Department of Defense's medical examiner. Hey, by the way, when Colonel Safranek said you could shake it out, so when you're at ease, you don't have to have your hands behind you. So if you need to do that, I know Vance figured it out there earlier. The DoD's medical examiner system and mortuary affair operations, both those commanders are here. On the medical examiner side, Lou, it's ironic that the only person I knew when I arrived at Dover was a soldier. And I think you know how much it is that I love your mission. Brian, your mission is sacred, and you have my public commitment that we will continue to support you in every way to ensure dignity, honor, and respect are provided to our fallen heroes and their families. To all of the fellow colonels and commanders, most of them in formation, their spouses, both active and reserve, we will get more done because we knew each other first as friends, and I wouldn't have it any other way. To our squadron commanders, chiefs, first sergeants, command chief, I walk amongst giants because of your continued amazing service and leadership. Our civic leaders, has been mentioned. Dover's blessed to have a strong representation, not only at the headquarters Air Force level, but a couple at the major command level. So Mike, Bobby, Lori, your humility and impact on our base and our Air Force and the local community simply inspire me. They motivate me personally to do both and be both better. Thank you. To all of the honorary commanders and alumni, especially Mr. Chuck and Christine Noonan, Sean Moriarty, Steve and Kathy Masterson. There's just Steve here right now, and Bob Clark. Thank you. Your friendship means the most, but you represent so much more. There are so many local leaders and organizations deserving of a call out. I'd like to make a special welcome to all members of the Delaware Chamber of Commerce, Central Delaware, the Civil Air Patrol. Both of the principals of my daughter's school are here, and it's an on-base school, and they're out of school, but so are you. And last, but certainly not least, and I haven't seen her yet, but there you are, Betty. The matriarch of Dover, Miss Betty Vane, and her husband Larry, my secretary, and a public servant coming up on 54 consecutive years of service to Dover Air Force Base. She refers to me, and I believe it's true, I am Wing Commander number 25. General Sharpie, Lieutenant General Sharpie sent me a note as I got this job, and he said, Matt, kick ass and be nice to Betty as we all work for her. As the vice, I know how much truth there is in that. Before I shift to this other side of the room, mostly family and friends, I want to first thank the entire Safranek family. Sir, Hannah, Connor, Emily, Logan. I got to talk about what your dad means to me last night. But I want you to know that your family is special in so many ways. And when I turn on the TV these days, view social media, and we're inundated with negativity and divisiveness, I'm just glad that there are such positive people like each of you that serve as the very best humanity has to offer. I thank you for babysitting, countless meals, fellowship, and laughter. And Sir Joel, I never did get to call you Joel. I thank you mostly for your example and trust and friendship. It only gets harder. On occasions like today, I'm always reminded why I decided to serve. My late Grandpa Jones, which has been mentioned, and I always carry a casing from his funeral, and then I get choked up, and I let people know this is from the 21-gun salute, not because I shot him. And so it's a physical reminder, and I know his presence is here today. My parents were anticipating a January change of command, so unfortunately they are in the Pacific on a much-deserved, non-refundable cruise. If you're able to view the video of today's ceremony, know how much I love you, and hope you are comforted by how many family members we have here on this special day. Now the very most important people in my life. Starting with my wife, Christy. As we just finished our 4th move in 5 years, your sacrifice is greater than mine. And it's the reason I'm standing here today. You're my better half because, by God's grace, all of my weaknesses are your natural strengths. I now, as I just beyond 20 years of service, have more Air Force years behind me than I have ahead of me. And I'm committed to remembering that the race means nothing if we don't finish it together. I love you. I gotta knock it off, though. To my kind, smart, talented, and beautiful daughters, Devin and Brooke, you're now at the age to understand what a job like this and some of the responsibility and what it means. But I thank you for not really caring about what I do at work, but instead is my title as your daddy. To you both, your mom and I love you more than you'll ever know. We're both proud of you and who you're growing up to be. We're especially proud of how you treat others, your performance at school, and your passion for dance, cheer, and soccer. I love you both. Okay, now on to my brothers here from New Jersey and Arizona. Scott and his family, Madison and Bella, Stacy, my young brother, Steve. My brothers are more professionally accomplished than I am, leading with Johnson & Johnson and PepsiCo, but they both have a servant's heart. One is a veteran, and the others are currently serving honorary commander for the United States Air Force. This is fun to highlight, but I'm most proud of the simple and literal unbreakable bond we have. You know what I'm thinking. All right, those are the hard parts for me, and you can tell how much my family means. There's more. My dad's identical twin is here, which is special. He's joined today with his wife, Amy, and my cousin, Christine. Thanks for making the trip from Washington State. I think my dad felt better about missing knowing that his likeness was here. From Nevada and California, I've got Sir Uncle Mark and my cousin Dave. Mark, I think I got my entrepreneurial spirit from you, and I want to call out that cousin Dave is a former Marine and a longtime public servant of the California Highway Patrol. Thank you for making the trip again to one of these ceremonies. Last one on my side of the family is retired Air Force Major, and you heard him before, Uncle Doug. When you delivered the invocation during my squadron change of command, our squadron change of command, Jackie, I felt the presence of our Lord, and I think it sustained me through that command. It was literally the most inspirational and moving invocation that I've heard. Well, you did it again today. God's presence and guiding hand give me peace, comfort, and confidence as I embark upon this new responsibility. Thank you for coming all the way from Washington State to participate. All right, now on to Christy's side of the family. What a blessing it's been to be within driving distance to Pennsylvania in 6 of my last 7 assignments. First are Christy's parents, Carol and Bill. Your support has been nothing short of extraordinary, especially all the help with our kids when they were so young. To my siblings-in-law, Barbie and Dan, and your handsome boys, Will and Mac, thanks for the friendship, laughter, and a reason for so many trips to come to Pittsburgh. Also so lucky to have Christy's aunt and uncle, Ron and Hayes, and Dan's parents, Pat and Linda, here as well. Our family is strong, and all because having you here means so much to me. Okay, we're almost there. Several friends and mentors that I'd like to acknowledge and welcome. The only other C5 Wing Commander I think currently serving, at least with that in her background. Jackie, thanks to you and Jason for making the trip from New Jersey. I look forward to serving together in your time left in command. All the way from Carlisle, Pennsylvania, Army War College instructor, graduated, C-130 Air Force Wing Commander, Colonel Mike and Emily Zick. Thanks for being here, and thanks for your mentorship and friendship. A power couple, both colonels and leaders in the nation's capital. You probably heard in the introduction, Kim and Tim Welter. We actually go way back. We've shared experiences operationally, time serving in Washington, D.C., and we have shared, although at separate time, assignments at Dover. Are so happy our paths continue to cross. And the next group is a kind of a package deal. In life, everyone gets to where they are due to a series of good fortune, timing, breaks. I'm no different, and I still remember those people in high school and college that took the time for those breaks to come my way. But in my Air Force career, I can trace my biggest break to my time as group exec at Travis. And Colonel Payne, my squadron commander at the time, thanks for your relentless advocacy to the group commander, sitting next to him, Colonel Mike Cassidy and his wife, Karen, who hired me into that position, and I really do believe kind of changed the path that I was on. Both traveling from out of town, again, my sincerest thanks to wonderful family, mentors, and airmen. So much of my career goes back to serving on the West Coast. My best friend is here, the soon-to-be McConnell Vice, Chesley Dykes. My supervisor as squadron commander, but a man I still think of as my neighbor, who I knew first, Colonel Dave Mott is here. I don't know if I saw Eric Weber, but the last 2 folks, we have 2 squadron commanders who graduated that are now back. Let's see, the Jaime family and DeFlorio. Thanks for making the trip back. And last, and I haven't seen them, but there's probably a reason. We sleep well at night because of a friend who is probably in the room, but we can't see him, a member of the elite FBI's hostage rescue team. Joe, if you're somewhere in the lurks, I know you RSVP'd. Thank you for making the trip. I'm sure I missed some folks, the Arnts, all our Dover civilians, group deputies, our patient and talented front office staff, numerous private orgs, but it's time to move on. I'm probably in a bit of trouble for how long this took for thank yous, but I beg for your forgiveness as there were over 37 people who traveled from outside the state of Delaware to be here. So now begins my speech, and it will be short. I am forever grateful to the planners of today's ceremony, Captain Gio, Senior Sahai, our protocol trifecta led by Octavio, today's MC and proffer, the Dover Honor Guard, Sergeant Garcia with the National Anthem, all the escorts, the 436th Airmen in formation, Wing Public Affairs, currently led by Ms. Don, the DoD's only superport for hosting today's ceremony. We mentioned it, but we're having our ceremony in the aerial port out of a seasonal necessity, but we are at the cargo epicenter of every airlift base, and it's the perfect reminder of our wing's mission. To General Barrett, sir, my commitment to you is to always be a team player, align our priorities within the commands, lead ethically, and communicate both timely and effectively. To our wonderful community, when AMC chose to stray from the norm and allow the Vice to fly up to the command position, I committed that it is not just my family that will benefit from the added time in place. My commitment is that the relationships and partnerships the base has with the community are equally strengthened by the continuity of this longer than typical assignment. And to the Eagle Wing, my commitment to you is that while leading selflessly and fairly, I will not share away from bold leadership that you deserve, and that I will never forget that it is our squadrons where airmen thrive and the mission happens. I take responsibility for the collective readiness that today's volatility and tomorrow's uncertainty demands, and will insist that we hold each other to account in upholding the standards and professionalism that society expects from us. I will listen with my mouth shut and foster an inclusive environment where everyone can be at their very best. I will embrace a culture of failing forward, where innovation and cross-functional teams have growing influence. It is my desire, as the world's premier airlift wing, to operate the best, care the most, and have some fun along the way. God bless Team Dover.
Christy, Devin, and Brooke, at this time, on behalf of Colonel Jones, our proffer would like to present each of you a gift. Thank you, Colonel Jones, for the words of inspiration. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, Eagle Wing would like to render a first salute to Colonel Jones as our new wing commander. Colonel Jones, we are honored to have you as our wing commander. We look forward to your leadership and guidance from you as Team Dover soars to new heights. Eagle Wing thanks you for your continued support and dedication. Please stand for the playing of the Air Force song and the departure of the official party.